Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the room. So now, I know I have been waiting for this all day. This person is very talented, inspirational, makes a massive impact on everybody they touch, and is back, yes, by popular demand. And this time, they have brought a special guest with them. So let's everybody put their hands together for Lady Unchained and S-Man.
Okay, I'm back. Oh my days. Thank you so much for having me again. I'm absolutely honoured, honestly, to be back on this stage with all you amazing people. I brought this amazing man with me because last time I got to perform for you, but I work with artists and he's one of them. But let me just quickly get into this because I'm just excited now. I'm getting hot. I've gone to the toilet, so I won't need to leave the stage. Okay, so basically I'm Lady Unchained. I am the founder and creative director of Unchained Poetry, which is an artistic platform for artists with lived experience of the criminal justice system. And how or why did I set this up? I mean, I feel like I'm going to repeat a couple of things, but I set it up because I went to jail for 2.5 years, and when I got out, I was really kind of stuck in this cycle of like, what do I do next? And I remember watching news and thinking, why do they keep telling me I'm going to go back? Why do they keep saying that everyone enjoys it? And I remember just thinking, like, there has to be more people like me that didn't enjoy jail or don't want to go back. I can't be the only one, you know? So I met this amazing organization called Arts Admin who allowed me to have a venue in Toynbee Studios up in East London. And that's where I created Unchained Nights. And Unchained Nights is a storytelling night. So there's poets and there's rappers and there's singers. But each artist has a lived experience of the criminal justice system. And they get the opportunity to tell their story through rap, through song, you know. And then I met these amazing men. And I have to tell you, we did this call out, right? And people were just like applying. Like I was kind of gassed actually because there was like loads of people applying. And then this young man actually came through with another artist, Tech, and he was meant to be on as a open mic slot, so I didn't have any more slots available, and I was like, I can't pay you, but like I'd really love you to do it. And he's like, yeah, what do you mean? Yeah, thank you, the opportunity. And then God had his other plans because the last person that had filled the slot cancelled. And I called him like the night before. I'm like, yes, I'm so sorry. Like, do you think you can just like, do you have some tracks? I've got a slot for you and I can pay you. And he's like, I wasn't really thinking about the money, but like, yeah, okay, cool. And so, yeah, S is going to introduce himself and his journey through Unchained Poetry and perform for you. So, yeah.
Hi, how you doing? Yeah, I'm S-Man, Sheridan. They call me S-Man. But yeah, first of all, I'd like to thank Brenda again because Lady Unchained, she's really helped me a lot. And from the first time I came, like she said, going in a bit deeper, I came in with Tech. And I just thought, like, I never thought there was a space for people that have come out of jail that actually want to push a positive message. I never thought there was a space for us to perform in a positive light. So Brenda's exposed that to me, and I'm very grateful. And we're on a long journey, short road, long journey. It's been great. And if I can just get you lot to put your hands together again for Brenda. Yeah, because seriously, it's not just me. There's a lot of people that she's helped, and she's changing lives. You know what I'm trying to say? So she's a big inspiration to me. So one of the things I cooked up earlier is this is just a bit about the mindset that I've reached during this journey, and how my mind's changed from being, you know, someone that didn't mind taking any risks, didn't really know their worth, to like being more calculated and more conscious. You know what I'm trying to say? And so, right, so this side starts. We go to sleep with director scripts, only to wake up and act out from unlimited scripts. Legal fiction entities get real estates and energies, some of which that we don't even know that exist. But most don't live life, no. They merely just sit, oblivious just, just watching EastEnders on the sofa, knowing when it's probably over, or because they channel drama in our culture. We want beef when opponents are eating over, trying to compete with the moments that's getting closer. I say let's be aware from microcosm to the solar, but for you, the truth's unbearable living sober. But what shall we do? Merely just quit? Or should we pull up our boots and shed tears in the gym? Should we look up to few with grey hair on their chin, showing conspiracies but didn't inspire a thing? In fact, since we're on the subject, let me ask you something. Are you an optimistic person or a necromantic? Do you see the dirt that's in our roots, or the growth that we did? Look how the sun made us bloom, although the clouds got so dim. Now win. Pull up your socks and win. Or do you see the dirt that's in our roots, or the growth that we did? Look how the sun made us bloom. I mean, how could we lose? Win. Thank you. Yeah. So, back to Brenda. Thank you.
Thank you so much, S. I promise I didn't make him say all of that stuff before. And then my recorder stopped recording, and I'm like, now I've got no proof that he said it. So yeah, that is S. I'm kind of like obviously here to tell you about Unchained Poetry and kind of the work that I do with Unchained Poetry, just because, you know, we're talking about how we work with people that are going through multiple disadvantages. If we're talking about the criminal justice system, you know, homelessness, like there's so many things that fall into that. And so I set up Unchained Poetry because I kind of just realized that there's a gap. There's something missing in regards to how do I connect with S without going back to Joe? You know, because like if I connect with him in a different way, we probably end up doing some stuff together that is not legit, you know? So, and it's the truth, and this is like what I'm gonna get into. So I guess what I would say is this. Through my prison sentence, I connected with people that I probably would have never ever connected with, people that I would have been very judgmental towards. Like, for example, people that had drug addiction, I was like, you know, well, you chose to be like that. You know, if I saw a prostitute on the road, I would decide she must have chosen to be there. But going through the criminal justice system, I realized that all of these people were affected before they became a prostitute, before they became addicted to drugs, before they became homeless. They came into contact with so many different people. So what I decided with Unchained Poetry was that I'm gonna concentrate on 4 factors. I wrote these down because this is kind of how I built Unchained as an organization, because initially it was meant to be a mentoring program. So I was like, I just need to mentor everyone that's coming from jail so we don't go back to jail, like all of us. But I didn't get the funding, so it meant that I couldn't set it up, but I kept the ground rules of what I wanted it to be. So these are the 4 factors. Can you hold this? These are the 4 factors that I chose to use and kind of like build Unchained on. And when I use these factors, I can start, I mean, look at S. Like, S is somebody that obviously now he's standing here talking to you. Before, when they were performing, I'm like, let me get you on the stage for like 5 minutes just after you perform. And they're like, why? Didn't they hear what I said in my lyrics? You know, and now they are here standing with you, talking to you. So all of these things include, the first factor is an environment. So if you think about somebody coming out of jail, where are they gonna live? We've got halfway houses, they call them AP, approved premises, which is provided by probation. Most of these halfway houses are literally the route to more crime. So if you get somebody that had drug problems and you place them back into a tower block that is known for drug misuse, they're already at a disadvantage, right? So, you know, and then that person's gonna come back into probation, they're gonna be like, oh, by the way, like, so you're going back to jail because, you know, you didn't meet the criteria of what you was meant to be doing when you was out. But you gave them no options. You put them right back into the scenario that they were trying to run away from when they were probably ending up like committing this crime. Because sometimes you gotta think, if somebody's got nowhere to live, they're gonna ask friends. If it's a good friend, there's not gonna be no, oh, I owe you anything, I owe this. If it's a bad friend, every day is a debt. And so you got to remember that that person is going to go straight back into owing this person money. They're going to have to commit some crimes to pay off that debt. That is why we need to really focus on the environment where that person lives. Employment. Why is it important for people to have money? Like, do we like money in here? Yeah, we love money. Let's not be, I know you've not said that quietly. If I was like, had a bucket here and I said you don't like money, I guess everyone would say, whoa, yeah, because I might just tip it over, But everyone needs an income, and it's crucial for somebody that has those kind of like disadvantages. For example, they've come straight out of jail and they've got no job. How do you expect them to live? It is so interesting that we put people in a situation and expect them to rebuild themselves. If you're vulnerable and you have no money, remember that the next person that is going to use that vulnerability against you is going to use money as a call. They're going to use money to pull you in, and you're going to end up in the same situation again. Like, literally, it's weird because I'm talking to you and I've got to really convince you that this is what I've done this because I went to jail. I didn't go to school to learn about this. I didn't have like a mentor to sit me down. This is just me going through the prison system and really trying to understand. So imagine a few years ago when I was trying to convince people that I knew what I was talking about. When I was saying, look, this is the things that you need to do in order to help me. I use all these factors because no one thought of that for me. I found out about these from ending up in jail, from reoffending twice, from being in front of a judge, and each time I was in front of a judge, something new happened. I learned something new. And I remember thinking, why didn't you tell me this the first time I was sentenced so then I could get the help then, but you waited. So we've got environment, employment, and the next one is education. And I guess these are probably thinking, oh yeah, people need to get degrees and diplomas. And no, I'm talking simply being able to read. Just simply being able to read. How does somebody come out of prison, is given a license condition, and is explained, okay, this is what you do. If you forgot what was said to you, how can you go back and read what it says? So simply being able to read is something so small that can prevent you from just getting into more trouble. And the reason I say reading is because I go into prisons and I might be there for a day, I might be there for 7 weeks, but I notice things. And one thing I notice is a lot of people don't know how to read. And you can see it. Somebody like me coming into the jail for one day, having a workshop with a boy who then writes, covering his paper, not wanting anybody else to see. Somebody else might think he's just not doing the work. I saw it as he doesn't want us to see that he spelt things differently. He doesn't want us to see that he's struggling to write a word. Because I went through that. I'll go through that. Even now, I don't know, some of these might be spelled wrong, to be honest. But, I'm a bit more confident, and I use it to tell people, look, I went through this, and this is what I do now. But just teaching a person to read. I'm not talking send them to college, give them a diploma, give them a degree, teach them how to read. Like, if you can't read, you can't do certain things. And at the end of the day, simply, like, if you sent me an email today, and you're like, Brenda, we need you here at, 2 o'clock, and I didn't see that bit. I just see 2 o'clock. Maybe I thought the event starts at 2 o'clock because I couldn't read exactly what you said. But I don't want to say that, and I don't want to convince you guys that I don't want to read or can't read, because guess what's going to happen? I'm going to fall into this depression of fear of being judged by others. And this is exactly what we're giving people. People coming from multiple disadvantages are already in a state of mind where they've been judged by every single person around them, like everyone. The last factor is relationships. If you think about relationships, right, think about family, friends, mom, dad, the colleagues, the social workers, and all this stuff. Like, what's so interesting is if you can't communicate just a simple conversation with a loved one or a caseworker or whatever, again, you fall back into this scenario of no one understands you. Like, no one understands you. Well, actually, I tried to help that young lady, but every time I talk to her, she just looks at me like I'm crazy. Well, actually, I don't understand you, miss. Yeah, I don't understand what you're saying. So we need to be able to build relationships so that people can communicate how they go from A to Z. Like, how else are we doing this, okay? So all these factors, I use them in order to create Unchained Poetry, so that when somebody approaches me, for example, I'm so sorry you're here, so I'm going to have to use you for everything. After they performed at Unchained Nights, they were meant to get paid. And they did, but what's funny is I told them they were going to get paid. I called them, and I said, let me get your bank details. And they said, what for? I said, for your payment. For your payment. And I remember that, like, their voices are like, but you're really going to pay us? Like, you're actually really going to give us money for what we just done? I'm like, yes, because your story is important. There are people coming from prison that are still in jail, that are in a situation that you have been through. And I need you to understand that by paying you gives you the acknowledgement that your story is worth something. It's not just a story that should be hidden or just, look at the newspaper and then go, oh God, they're talking about me. No, that's not your story. Your story is different. When we're talking about people with multiple disadvantages, each person is different. You can't meet a lady that used to be a prostitute and another lady that used to be a prostitute and accept them to be the same. They will both have different needs. They would have both had different journeys from how they got there, whether it's through a partner, whether it's through, a mother who was also on drugs or whatever. Like, there are going to be different needs. We can't just throw people in boxes and expect them to just be like, oh, well, you know what, they're an ex-offender, so they must know how to help ex-offenders. That's not how it works. I might not be able to work with S might not be able to work with me, but there's a relationship that you build and understand the common grounds of where each person is coming from. And when that happens, magic happens. Like joy happens. I can ring S at 1 o'clock in the morning. He's going to pick up the phone. He can ring me at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'll be like, yo, you all right? What's going on? It's good, yeah? And then we'll start laughing and we'll talk for about 2 hours. We've dealt with nothing in those 2 hours, but we've spoken. Do you understand? So when you're working with these kind of people, one thing that I would say is, who checks in on them? And who first met that person? Because if we're thinking, all right, this lady's, okay, let me use mine. Let me use my example. I went to prison 2.5 years. I came out, I was on probation. The support after wasn't there. I had to figure out where everything was. And not only figure it out, I had to rely on people that knew where to get this help. But if they don't know, then where am I getting the help from? So one thing that I figured out through my extra convictions is this. In probation, there is somebody who liaisons with the housing. Did you know? Did you know? Because I didn't until I was back on probation. And so what I'm going to say, I'm saying this to you because I know you guys work with so many different people. So if you have someone on probation or you're a probation officer or you're working with somebody that's just come out, find that person. Because it is our responsibility to find those connections for those people that are going through multiple disadvantages because they won't know how or where to find it. Us as the people that are in charge or have the keys or the knowledge, we also have to be educated enough to know we need to go to that probation officer, ask that probation officer who their housing liaison is so that we can work with that housing liaison so we can get that person's housing sorted. Because remember, you only have a set period. So if that person's on probation for 6 months, you've got 6 months to sort out all their problems. So you need to start from the day before they're released. You understand? You have to make that connection before. Because if you wait 4 months into their probation, the housing liaison person only has, 2 months with them? And once that is finished, it's finished. They're like, see you later, mate, but my housing is not fixed, sir. Don't know. Get back on probation and we'll talk. That's exactly what we're telling people. So why are we waiting for someone to be resectioned or sent back to jail or becomes homeless? Why are we waiting for that when we are the same people that are responsible for these individuals? We're responsible for them because they've already been let down by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Most of you have probably met somebody and they've gone through every single service possible, every single service. And then they come to you and you're like, oh my God, but why wasn't this done? And why wasn't this done? And but now you're going back to try and figure out everything else that was not resolved. You have to figure out who this person is connected with, how do we connect with that person's support worker, mental health workers. Every single person has a way of getting to that person. Another thing I learned was, did you know that in the job centre, right? Jesus, I mean, like, I'm getting even hot thinking about this, Did you know that in the job centre, there is meant to be at least one person that deals with people coming out of prison? They're meant to be, okay, so, is it you? I'm coming to talk to you after. Woo. Well, that's good, isn't it? That's good, at least there's one person in here, so all of you sort of go and talk to her. But I found that out again, being back on probation. Do you understand the logic in this? Like, why did I not know this before? I remember being released, going into the job centre, applying for jobs because I was volunteering, and I had the experience to work for these organisations. but I'm not getting a job because I then have to send HR a letter, a disclosure, like, hey, by the way, I was in jail. And so the job center people are like, so why are you not getting these jobs? What's wrong with you? Why are you not getting these jobs? But I was so embarrassed to say, I've been to jail. It took me at least 6 months when I finally found an advisor that seemed like she had it together. She seemed like she got things. And like, I don't know, like she just called to me. And I just said, look, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've been to jail. She went, what? For what? So I had a fight, man, like, I'm so sorry, like, I was meant to tell you years, like, and she didn't believe it. She actually didn't believe it. You know what happened? I took my folder of all my experiences, how to write a cover letter, how to write all of these disclosure letters, how to do all this. I took it into the job center, and they asked me if I can give them those papers because they didn't have it. They didn't have the documents that they need in order to support somebody that's come out of jail in order to get a job, but you're the job center. So you need to figure out who that person in the job center is that is working with the people that's come out of jail. So, Madame, we are going to be talking. Thank you very much. And, Lucian, all that's my areas too. So we're just good connection there. But you need to figure out all these people, because if you don't know these people, you don't connect with them, the person that you're working with don't know them. The person you're working with is going to tell you when they are re-released 2 years later that, oh yeah, did you know? And you're going to be looking at them like, oh yeah, I heard. But I don't know who that person is. So we need to find who is responsible for everything. And when I say everything, I mean the job center, I mean the housing, all these connections need to work, because if you can't say you're working with people with multiple disadvantages and only work with social care, and that's the only connection you have, because actually that person might not need social care, so that's not going to help them, is it? So when I say, like, we have to do this together, I say it with all my heart, because all these things I've done or I've experienced is from my own experience. And I've had to really beg people to understand that I'm not talking because I just want to talk. I mean, well, now I get paid to talk, so it's great. But, I'm talking because all the things that I have been through have led me to building Unchained Poetry, to meeting amazing artists like S, and being able to kind of come and speak to people like yourselves and be able to go into prisons and work with people who automatically are going to allow them, like, they're going to allow me into their heart. They're going to allow me to hear a story that somebody that's known them for 5 years might not know. I've got boys or men writing into the radio and talking about the fact that they were abused as children and they've never spoken about it. They talk about their mum, seeing their mum abused. They talk about seeing their dad, abuse their sisters or whatever. And these are things that they're writing in bars. But the only reason they're doing that is because they've never been given opportunity to ever talk about it. Like, you're going to meet this person and they're going to be so shut down because they just don't know if they can tell you everything that's going on. So you're just going to think, oh, that person is just, it's just difficult. I don't know, I can't get through to that person. If you put me in that room, things will change. Why? Only because I've got the experience? No, I've got the experience, great, but I have a heart. So do we all. Like, we all have hearts, so we need to open up that part of ourselves to show more compassion to those people, because everyone's got a story, and if you don't allow them to tell it, you will never know. You'll never know how to fix it. You'll never know how to help them resolve their trauma. And also, trauma is something that is going to be there regardless. You just have to figure out how we help them to deal with it, how we help them to express those emotions so that they don't feel like, you know what, I'm going to get with the same guy that I was with last year because, he's the only person that loves me, and, I'm never going to get loved again, and, it doesn't matter if he beats me up, and that's what love looks like. In that person's eyes, love looks like abuse. One thing I will add to that is funny, actually, and it's not funny, but it's funny. Like, women, when we were growing up in school, do you remember when a boy would punch you or hit you, and everyone go, oh, he fancies you? You're in. This is what we're teaching children. When a boy hits you, he fancies you. Is that really what we're going to tell them? So when they grow up and their man starts beating them left, right, and center, that's what love is. He loves me for real. And then you have the guys that will tell you, I did it because I love you. So we've already installed things in their heads that allow them to be in situations and be comfortable in those situations because somebody told them that's what love looks like. In order for people to break that cycle, it's going to take a lot more than just that one individual. We can't hold just one person responsible for everything that's happened to them, because even if you think about the criminal justice system, I'm going to use women. If a woman was abused throughout her whole life, starts taking drugs to hide the pain, hide the trauma, hide the shame of what she believes is written on her head, when she ends up in a criminal justice system, those forms of abuse are still not looked into. No one explains to her why she has to go to jail for stealing milk so her child can have some milk that night, and the people that have abused her all her life are walking free with no conditions, no nothing, probably going on to do exactly the same thing to other women who are also being left traumatized and never speaking about it. So I think you've all heard the saying, it takes a village, right? It takes a village, right? But in order for us to successfully support those people, right, that we work with, that we want to work with, that we are really open to doing, we have to really start to open the ears of every villager, the ears. And not only the ears, we need to get into their hearts, their souls, and really expose them to why people go through multiple disadvantages. Because, like me, if you don't know, it's like, it's just them, it's just the other people, the other people. But if you sit down with them and show what lived experience people go through, what people that have all of these disadvantages had to go through, give them something that can relate to. For example, I open up sometimes with how I got into a fight, and I open it up with, imagine being out with your sisters. Imagine being out with your mum and family. Day out, dinner, whatever it is, whatever you do as a family, you're all together, and someone attacks one of you. Someone attacks your family member. What do you do in that situation? Because a lot of people that I know are not going to call the police there and then. We're going to handle it, like in that situation. But that's not self-defense, apparently. Just saying it's not self-defense, so otherwise I would have gone to jail. So you need to really let people kind of like get into the heart of these stories and actually just tell them, do you know what? This can happen to you. It's not just them and us. Maybe when you're in jail, it's them and us. But in society as a whole, we need to really understand, what the hell are we doing for these people if somebody's going to say, I feel a lot safer in prison? What is the issue there? What are we doing wrong? What exactly are we really doing wrong to these people that it means that somebody's going to go back to jail and feel like, yeah, I'm home? When you meet people that come out of jail and go, the outside is the holiday and jail is their home, then you realize that the system we live in is a complete mess. So, obviously, I've told you about the job centre. I'm literally like, I can't wait to talk to you. Like, trying to fast forward with this, like, so I could go and sit down and talk to you. What I wanted to say, like, obviously, I know we don't have that much time, and I want S to perform, and I do want to perform a poem for you because it would not be fair if I don't perform something. But I have this little last kind of thing to say to you. And last time I had, like, I was like, I need keys, but actually I've just got keys as earrings this time, so these are my props. S, don't laugh at me. So as people who are working with our groups of people that we care for, it is our responsibility to find the keys, these same keys, to unlock and unchain them from the chains that they're carrying. They're carrying these with heavy burdens, and it's our responsibility to really just unlock that. Take a load and say, look, I'm going to take that for you, and I'm going to take that. I'm not taking it to steal it, but I'm going to help you, and I'm going to carry it to the next level so that you can build and grow. Do you understand? In order for us to do that, we need to really, really, really build the connections with the amazing lady over there, but also care systems. I know you had Lem Sister here, and I'm so like gassed that he was here. I was just breathing his air. So forget COVID, I was just breathing Lem Sister's air. And I'm sure he touched on a lot of things, especially coming from the care system and how that really just goes on from care. And I want to say care straight to jail, but I recently found out there's this place called a secure unit. So they don't want to call it a prison. hope they invite me back after I say this. They don't want to call it a prison, and the reason is because it houses 12 to 18-year-olds. So these are kids that are coming, whether it's straight from the care system and they were what society likes to call the hard to reach, the people that are, complicated, the challenging ones. They become so challenging in the care unit that they're in that they send them to this secure training unit. What they're training them for, I have no idea, but it's a unit that houses little kids, little children. And so my thing is this: if we're going to connect with people, we need to start from all of these different services or different facilities that apparently are taking the people that are going to be thrown at us. And I say thrown because they practically are like, you're free. And one of you have to catch them. And you better hope you catch them with both arms, because if they drop, that's it, they're finished. Because once they land to the ground, somebody else is going to come and give them something else to talk about or do, and by the time they return to you, it's going to be a joke. So, yeah, I kind of want to finish quickly because I want to perform and I want Esther to perform to you guys. I have so much other stuff to say, but we can do this over again soon. Like, let's build a new organization that we can do this every 3 months, I would say. Funders, anyone, people? Honestly, I think more things like this definitely need to happen so that we can just build and also just connect. Like, I think there's a lot of people in this room that are doing such amazing work, but we're not represented enough, or our people don't know where to find us. They're like, we're offering all these services, but our people are still stuck in a dark hole. They don't know how to reach us. They don't know how to call our name. They don't know even if we exist yet. So let's just do more things, promote each other. If you see someone doing amazing work, please share them. Share it to other people. Share it to your team. Share it to your organizations. And I'm going to end, but I want to completely just say one thing which I'm going to push in there last: lived experience. Everything I do today is based off of the experience that I've gone through, the good, the bad, the ugly, the starvation, the brokenness, the housing issues, the lack of support. Every single thing I talk about, I've been through it. And I can only talk about it because I've been through it. And to be honest, I'm still going through some of the things. It just so happens that with the support that I have, National Prison Radio Arts, admin, sound delivery, all those people support me to be the best version of myself. And so we can do that for everybody else. I'm not I am blessed by God, thank you, Jesus, but I'm not that special. There's people that are waiting for you to just take their hand and lead them to that journey. So, yeah. So, because I talked about keys so much, I'm going to perform Keys to Freedom for you. Yeah. Couldn't have saved me. I blame God for my pain. See, I put my life in his hands, but his hands must have been full. Cause I slipped through the gaps and he didn't even lend a hand. Instead, he sent me to jail, even sent a priest in his place to remind me of his so-called love. In this place where love doesn't exist, smiles are short-lived, laughters are followed by tears, and tears are a sign of weakness. I guess you must have not heard my cry from the pits of hell when I placed my hand on your book of life and prayed for you to take my life. So I sent back his love, because in there it's like a matter of life and death seems to be the only option. I said, death seems to be the only option. Cold red, cold black. I swear I never tried to end my life. The letter found was not my suicide note. In fact, that was my safety net, my little glimpse of hope. But I can see how it looked to me, lying cold on that ground with a letter by my side, non-responsive to your help. It's like I kissed death on the lips. Prison was my time out, my journey back to faith. And it wasn't until that moment I realized I wanted to live, and I wanted to live it to the fullest. So prison became my church, prayers became my daily meal, and faith led me back to Christ. Because in there, it's like a matter of life and death. And I chose life because death is no longer an option. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, like that poem is basically just a journey of jail and being very suicidal and kind of really feeling like your life is the end. But yes, keys to freedom, we will have them, and we are those keys. So become those keys and just be them. Be keys to everybody. So S is gonna shut it down for me, and I know there's some people that's ready for this, so I'm just gonna like let him take over. S.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Yeah, the next piece I'm going to do is just taking it a bit back to like the mindset that I started from, because again, Brenda's took us for a long journey, man, and we'll come far again. But one thing I know that she's very keen on is letting people know the cause to the effect. You know what I'm trying to say? So yeah, that's what this next piece is trying to depict. So I'm ready when you are. Yeah, can I get a little bit of volume? Tad bit. Yeah. So as a youth, I used to play in the naughtiest games. Never knew that such thing as a pauper would change. Till I grew and then I knew that all of it was fake. I'm trying to move from ragged shoes and get fortune and fame. Know that I can't sit on the corner and wait. So I set my foundation so my world doesn't break. I ain't gonna preach, I'ma call it a day. Until I got the world at my feet, I'ma walk with my pain. Pray David, I ain't walking away from all my mistakes. But fake mates, I wanna slaughter my name. I walk head high despite all that try hate. So it's more like I'm fly without boarding a plane. Few man hate us, I know the thought I was phased. You man say breath, just come and talk to my face. I wanna win, I put it all in my grace. The devil wrapped me up in sin when I thought I was safe. But if God is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid of the pestilence that's crawling by night? If God is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid? I ain't afraid. Stuck in the sea with it has gotten me paid. Shot in illegal stuff, it's done got me caged. There's no retreating, I was up to my waist. Me, I was whipped for this shit as soon as I got a taste. No way I'm leaving, guess I'm stuck in my ways. Family up to shoving needles up in their veins. It's not the stealing, got a couple of ways. My man will eat your meal, if not we get a cut of the cake straight. Teammate moving at the popular pace. There is no breather, we don't stop for a break. And people on the streets are not getting braced. And kills on me, the sweets are cut for the gauge. Now that I'm free, I'll be on top of my game. So I'm wasting people slots on a day. Hell no, I don't spend 1p just to be getting paid. Just drop straight to the knees and cut to the chase. I'm so ashamed, but if God is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid of the pestilence that's crawling by night? If God is standing by my side, then why should I be afraid? I ain't afraid. But if God is standing by